Consider the second numerical example on Nyquist plot. As I told in the previous lecture, please follow the generalized steps for all the problems. So consider a problem like this. G of s into h of s is given as 100 by s plus 1 into s plus 2 into s plus 3. Now, as I told in the previous video lecture, the first step, s is equal to j omega. So when you put s is equal to j omega, you will get g into h is equal to 100 divided by s plus 1 into s plus 2 into s plus 3 is equal to, now put s is equal to j omega, you will get j omega plus 1 into j omega plus 2 into j omega plus 3. Now you just rearrange the terms. 1 plus j omega I will write, and then 2 plus j omega, and after 2 plus j omega next I'll write 3 plus j omega. I'll just rearrange the terms. Now after this you find out how many open loop poles are there. What are the poles present? Open loop poles. S is equal to minus 1, equate the denominator to 0. S is equal to minus 2 and S is equal to 3. Are there any poles present on the right hand side? We will see. Minus 1 is present on the left hand side, minus 2 is present on the left hand side, and minus 3 is also present on the left hand side. So there are no poles present on the right hand side. So therefore you have to take capital P is equal to 0. We will use this capital P at the last step. Now you find the magnitude. Magnitude is by taking magnitude modulus on G into H. Numerator you have 100, keep it as it is. Denominator 1 square plus omega square formula, and square root of 2 square plus omega square, and then square root of 3 square plus omega square. Okay, just you apply the formula of magnitude, square root of a square plus b square. Now find the face angle. What is the face angle of the numerator? Nothing. What is the face angle of the first denominator term? Minus tan inverse of omega by 1. Formula is tan inverse of b divided by a. I have told in my first lecture, video lecture of problems. Second denominator minus tan inverse of omega by 2, and the next one, last term is minus tan inverse of omega by 3. Okay, now magnitude and phase is calculated. Go for step 2. Step 2, you have to take the contour. Are there any poles present on the origin? No. Okay, and are there poles present on the j omega axis? No. Then you have to take the entire j omega axis as your contour like this. So this is my sigma, this will be j omega, and this diagram is called as S plane. This is 0. Starting from 0, you have to take the entire thing as, starting from 0, go up to plus infinity, plus j infinity. Let me call the point as B. Let me call the point as A at the starting. Direction is like this. Take the entire contour and come to minus j infinity. Okay, this point I am calling it as C. This point I am calling it as D. And again from D to wherever you started, the contour should end there. And the contour I am taking it in the clockwise direction. The arrow mark I am taking it in clockwise direction. Okay, what is the radius of this contour? Infinity. Okay, so the contour should be taken for your entire right hand side of your S plane. That's all. Now after taking the contour, first I have to take my section A. So first I have to take a section A to B. Section A to B. So first I am taking section A to B. Now in this section A to B, at point A, what is the omega value? Omega value is 0. Point A is at origin. So when omega value is equal to 0, what happens to the magnitude? Substitute omega 0 to the magnitude. 100 by square root of 1 plus 0, square root of 4 plus 0 into square root of 9 plus 0. So your answer for magnitude, if you simplify using your calculator, you are going to get the magnitude m value as 16.67. okay, if you put omega 0. Now find the angle, phase angle phi. The phase angle, you are going to get it as minus tan inverse 0, minus tan inverse 0, minus tan inverse 0. So you are going to get it as 0 degree. Phi, phase angle is 0 degree. Now at B, at point B, omega, what is the omega value at point B? Infinity. So at omega infinity, what happens to capital M? Capital M becomes 0. So you put omega is equal to infinity in the capital M equation, the denominator becomes infinity. When the denominator becomes infinity, then the capital M will be 0. Now what happens to phase angle? Phase angle, when you put omega is equal to infinity, tan inverse infinity minus tan inverse infinity minus tan inverse infinity. Tan inverse infinity is 90 degree. So minus 90 degree minus 90 degree minus 90 degree all together will give you minus 270 degree. Minus 270 degree. Now find the rotation angle. So what is the rotation angle? Rotation angle is always final angle minus initial angle. So answer you will get it as minus 270 degree. What does this minus indicates? That minus indicates you have to draw the circle in the clockwise direction. Rotation angle minus indicates you have to draw the circle in clockwise direction. Now before drawing the circle, let us find the intersection, whether there are intersection on the real or imaginary axis, that also we will find. So how to find that? You have to rationalize the term. Rationalizing G into H. What is the G into H given as? 100 divided by 1 plus j omega, right? So 100 divided by 1 plus j omega into 2 plus j omega, and then one more term is 3 plus j omega. 3 plus j omega. Now rationalizing means what you need to do? Multiply the numerator by its complex conjugate. 1 minus j omega into 2 minus j omega into 3 minus j omega. Same thing you multiply in the denominator. 1 minus j omega, 2 minus j omega, and then 3 minus j omega. Multiply and divide by the complex conjugate of the denominator. Complex conjugate means only j term should change the sign. Instead of 1 plus j omega, I have written 1 minus j omega. That is the meaning of complex conjugate. Okay. Now what is the thing you will get? In the numerator you should multiply. So I am keeping 1 minus j omega as it is, and I am multiplying the second and third term. So you are going to get as 2 3s are 6 minus 2j omega minus 3j omega plus j square omega square. Okay, and whole divided by denominator 1 plus j omega into 1 minus j omega. You can write it as 1 square plus omega square. And again 2 plus j omega, 2 minus j omega. You can write it as 2 square plus omega square. And 3 plus j omega, 3 minus j omega. You can write it as 3 square plus omega square. Okay. Now if you simplify this further, 100 into 1 minus j omega. How much you will get if you simplify the term? If you simplify the term, you will get 6 minus 2j omega minus 3j omega will become minus 5j omega and minus omega square. J square is nothing but minus 1 divided by d. I am calling this entire denominator as d. I don't want to write such a big expression, that is why. Now you again multiply in the numerator 1 into 6 minus 1 into 5j omega minus 1 into omega square. Now minus j omega into 6 minus j omega into minus 5j omega plus j square omega square 5 minus j omega into minus omega square becomes plus j omega cube, okay, divided by capital D. Now you will get 100 in the numerator. What are the real terms? You take all the real terms. You will get 6 minus 5j omega minus 6j omega can be written as minus 11j omega, and j square can be written as minus omega square into 5, and then you have j omega cube, and then you have minus omega square. Make sure you take all the terms without leaving any terms. Now again I will simplify. In the next step, if you simplify, you are going to separate the real term and the imaginary term. Which are the real term here? 6 minus omega square 5, and then minus omega square. Minus omega square 5 can be written as minus 6 omega square. Okay, that is your real part. Which is your imaginary part? Minus 11j omega plus j omega cube. That is your imaginary part. I will separate and write. I'll separate and write now. So what is that you are going to get? So you got that is equal to finally 100 into, if you separate the real term, you will get 6 minus 6 omega square as one term. Then if you separate the imaginary term by taking j common, you will get omega cube minus 11 omega. Okay, whole thing is multiplied by 100 and whole thing is divided by d. Now you separate, you will get 100 into 6 minus 6 omega square divided by d, and then you will get plus j 100. Here also 100 will come, omega cube minus 11 omega, okay, divided by d. And this is your real part and imaginary part you got. Okay, now equate the real part and imaginary part to 0. All the problems I told, do it in the same fashion. Real part equate it to 0. So what is that you will get? 6 minus 6 omega square is equal to 0. I am not writing the numerator 100 and the denominator d, because when you equate it to 0, that goes to 0. Okay, I am not showing that. So now what if you simplify, what is that you will get? Omega square is equal to 1. What is the meaning if you get omega value as a number other than 0? That means there is one intersect. There is one intersect on imaginary axis. Okay, why imaginary axis? Because you equated real term to 0. That is why you will get the intersection on imaginary axis. There is one intersection on the imaginary axis. Okay, why 1 I am writing? Because you got omega 1 value. Okay, omega is equal to single number you got. I am not writing this 1 because of omega square is 1 now. You got omega is equal to a single number. You did not get any comma something. Okay, so that is why you got omega is equal to single number. I am writing one intersection on j omega imaginary axis. Now similarly, let us do for imaginary term. Put imaginary term to 0. 100 into omega cube minus 11 into omega divided by 0, d is equal to 0. Cross multiply, 100 and d becomes cancelled. When you cross multiply, it goes to 0. So what is left out? Omega cube minus 11 omega is equal to 0. So that is going to give omega cube is equal to 11 omega. That is nothing but omega square is equal to 11. So here also you got omega square is a single number. So that means what? I have to write one intersection. I have to write one intersection on real axis. Why you have to write the intersection on the real axis? Because you equated imaginary term to 0. I am going to get the intersection on the real axis. Omega square is equal to a single number you got. And the number is not equal to 0. That is why you have to write one intersection on the real axis. Now you have to draw the Nyquist plot. of section A to B. We are still in section A to B. So this I have to take it as real part of G into H. This I have to take it as imaginary part of G into H, and this is your GH plane. This is your origin. This is your 0 degree, minus 90 degree, minus 180 degree, minus 270 degree, or it can also be called as 90 degree. Now I have to draw. Where is my first point I got? The first point what I got is what? Point A. Point A is at 0 degree and 16.67. So on 0 degree, mark 16.67. On 0 degree, mark 16.67. This is your 0 degree. Here you mark somewhere 16.67 on 0 degree. So this is my point A. Now where is your point B? At point B, what is the value you got? At point B, here at point B, m is equal to 0. On which angle? Minus 270 degree. Minus 270 degree, mark m is equal to 0. Minus 270 degree. Okay. So where is minus 270 degree? Here. This is minus 270 degree. Okay, on minus 270 degree, mark m is equal to 0. It comes here, no? M is equal to 0 means origin. So it comes here. So mark the point there. On minus 270 degree, m is equal to 0. So this is my point B. Okay, it should start here. The diagram, the circle should start here and it should end on B. And whether you know whether any intersection points are present, and from here whether to join like this or whether to join like this. Okay, so that is told by your intersection points. Where are the intersection points? One intersection on imaginary axis, one intersection on real axis. Okay, so now whether to take the diagram, start the diagram from A in clockwise or in anti-clockwise, that is told by your rotation angle. Where is rotation angle? Here. So what is the rotation angle you got? Minus 270. Minus indicates you have to write the Nyquist plot in the clockwise direction. Minus indicates Nyquist plot diagram should be in the clockwise direction. Okay, so minus means clockwise. So I have to draw clockwise. So starting from A, okay, I have to come clockwise. Clockwise means I have to come down only, no? So clockwise I have to come. And while coming here, whether is there any intersection point on the j omega imaginary axis? Yes, there are one intersection point. One means one intersection should happen here. Here. Mark one intersection point here. And is there any intersection point on the real axis? Yes. On the real axis also you have one intersection point. Where is real axis? This is your real axis. Okay. On this real axis I have to mark one intersection point somewhere, wherever you can mark. There is no rule that you have to mark there only. Okay. So I am going to mark it here. The intersection point will not come here. Why? Because already the diagram started and your line is coming down. So definitely it cannot come here. It can come only in the clockwise. The intersection points can come only in the clockwise path. So I have to mark another intersection here. Now join all these points. Starting from A, I'll take the intersection point and I'll cut the intersection point. Then after that join your ending point. After that join your ending point. Like this it will come. So the direction is from A to B. The direction is from A to B. Okay. Now what is this omega value at this intersection point? What is this intersection? It is a real axis. No. This is your real axis intersection. At real axis, what is the omega value you got? At real axis intersection, the omega value is 11. That you write down. Simply I will write that. So at this intersection point, omega square value is 11. Now what is the intersection point, omega point at this intersection? Imaginary axis. This is imaginary axis. On this, omega square is equal to 1. That also you can write, but don't write that, leave. Only write the intersection on the real axis. That will be useful in the next step. Done. Now this completes section A to B. After section A to B, now you have to go for section BCD. You know that section BCD maps to origin. You need not do it. For all the problems, section BCD maps to origin. Now what is the last section? Section DA. And what is section DA? Section DA is always mirror image of your section AB. Mirror image of section AB. Okay, so you should write whatever you have written in the bottom, same thing you should write it in the top like a mirror image. Clear? Now let me write it separately here. I am writing what? Complete. After completing all the sections, I have to write complete Nyquist plot. Call this as real part of G into H. Call this as imaginary part of G into H. This is G into H plane. Okay, already I have my diagram present. Half of the Nyquist plot is already there. How it is there? Like this, what I have written above. Okay, like this I have already. Direction is like this. Okay, A to, this is 16.67. The direction is A to B. Okay, this is B point. And now I have to write in the reverse way, no? And when you are writing in the reverse way, make sure the intersection will be same. When you are writing in the mirror image, now I have to start from here, then I have to write it in a reverse way, like a mirror image. When you do the mirror image, it should have the same intersection point. Okay, you should not write the intersection in another place. It should have the common intersection points, both the mirror image. See, like this, it should have same intersection point, and then it should meet wherever A is there. Okay, now from A to B, and then from again B it goes out, from B it goes out, and it comes like this. Okay, this point is nothing but your D. Okay, B and D both are same. Why? Because B is infinity, D is also infinity, and B and D will be same points. So wherever B is ended, D should start from that point. So the arrow mark I am writing in a continuous way. If the arrow mark ends at B, then in the next case the arrow mark should continue from B. Okay, you should not write both the incoming arrow marks for B. Okay, once for B, if the arrow mark is incoming, for the another case the arrow mark should go out from the B, like this. So this is your complete Nyquist plot. Now what is the point at this intersection? At this intersection, what is omega value? Omega value is 11 at this intersection. That is what we have found here, no? Intersection on the real axis. At this intersection, omega square value will be 11. That is what I have written here. Now the complete Nyquist plot is done. But find out how many circles are present on the around -1. Where is -1 here? I don't know where is -1 at all. Correct, no? So you need to find where is -1 present. In order to find where is -1, you should find what is the value at this intersection. Then only you can tell, no, whether -1 is coming this side or whether -1 is coming this side. So let me call that as x. Okay, at this point let me call the value as x. Now what is x? I need to find out. What is x? Okay, how to find x? So what is x? First of all, x is point on which axis? Real axis. X is the point on real axis at omega square is equal to 11. Correct, no? X is the intersection point and at the intersection point, what is omega? Omega square is equal to 11. This helps you to calculate x value. Clear? Now x is the point on real axis. So how to calculate x? X is nothing but the real part. For that real part, you should put omega square is equal to 11. That's all. Then you will get the answer for x. X is nothing but the real part only. For that real part, you should put omega square is equal to 11. Then you will get the answer for x. Now what is real part? Where is real part? See, this is my real part. Where is it? Here. This is my real part. So for this real part, you put omega square is equal to 11. I'm going to take it here. What is that real part? I forgot. 100 into 6 minus 6 omega square. 6 omega square whole divided by d, capital D. What is capital D? Capital D, you know. It is there in the previous step, wherever you did. Capital D is what? Here. Capital D is 1 square plus 2 omega square into 2 square plus omega square into 3 square plus omega square. That you should substitute for capital D. So what is capital D? I will substitute the capital D value as 1 plus omega square into 2 square plus omega square into 3 square plus omega square. For this real part, this is my real part. Again I will put a line. For this real part, you put omega square is equal to 11. Wherever omega square is there, you put 11. Now you do it in your calculator and you should get your answer. If you put omega square is equal to 11 and if you use the calculator, right hand side you are going to get it as minus 1.66. This is the answer you should get. Is that clear? Now what is the meaning? What is the value at this point? What is this x value? This x value is equal to minus 1.66. That is your x value. That means this point is nothing but minus 1.66. If this point is minus 1.66, then where is minus 1 present? If this is minus 1.66, minus 1 will be present here or minus 1 will be present here? Definitely here only, no? Because if this is minus 1.66, then minus 1 will be present on the right hand side of it. So minus 1 is present here. To find where is minus 1, whether it is here or whether it is here, to find minus 1 only, I found this intersection point. Okay, after knowing this intersection point as minus 1.66, then only I can find where is minus 1, whether this side or this side. Now mark that minus 1. I came to know that minus 1 is on this side now. So this is my minus 1. Now you find out how many circles are there around minus 1. Say there is one circle in the clockwise. This is a small circle around minus 1 in clockwise. So one circle. And there is one more circle also around minus 1. Bigger circle. That is also in clockwise. See, this is also in clockwise direction. For writing a capital N, for clockwise you have to take positive. For writing a capital N, I am stressing. If you want to write the capital N value, the circles, if they are present in clockwise, please take it as positive. If the circles are there in anti-clockwise, for writing capital N only, please take the direction as negative for anti-clockwise and positive N value for clockwise. Now both the circles are in clockwise now. This bigger circle is also in clockwise and smaller circle is also in clockwise. How many circles are there around minus 1? 2. Therefore capital N is equal to plus 2. Plus indicates clockwise encirclements. This is only for calculating n value. Clockwise n plus indicates clockwise encirclements. If you have anti-clockwise circles, then you have to write minus sign. Clear? Now for n is equal to plus, it is clockwise encirclements. So n is equal to plus 2 I got. What is the Nyquist stability criteria? Nyquist stability criteria tells that capital N should be equal to minus P. Then only the system is stable. What is capital P from the first step? Capital P is present here. It is 0. Substitute that in the last step. Capital P is 0. But what is N? Plus 2. Is plus 2 equal to 0? No, it is not equal. So the Nyquist stability criteria is not satisfied. Because it is not satisfied, I can write the given system, closed loop system, is unstable. The given system is unstable system. It is not a stable. It is unstable system if the condition is not satisfied. So like this you need to do and repeat the same steps for any Nyquist problem given to you.